do. I remember that moment too, and I think that's a good place to kind of move into this question that I have for you. I know that when you got to Georgia Southern was very new in regards to the sport of track and field. I mean, don't quote me on this, but I want to say it was like maybe 5 years old when you got there. I mean, they were still running over as what was it, Statesboro? Yeah,
Statesboro High School,
yeah,
yes.
still running over there. And so I thought about that and I was like, Nicole was one of the first to set some of the substantial records that still stand. You were the first team championship that happened at Georgia Southern in regards to track and field. You were the first track and field all conference performer. You were the first East Region champion. You were the first national qualifier. You're the first track and field Hall of Famer. And you were the first one that moved from being on the high school track to getting the run on the actual track on campus. So I was thinking about this and I'm like, with you being the first of so many different areas while you were there, that really kind of makes an impression on someone. So now here you are 15 years later. Can you share with us what's maybe something now or over the last 15 years that you have not been the first in, and how you grapple with not being the first, but maybe being good with being the support or the second or whatever? Share with us how maybe not being the first can actually be a good thing.
Uh, I would say it's probably a good thing, but I will say I don't know if you actually get used to it
Mm,
um, when you've been first kind of everywhere. Right now, of course, I work in television and film, and I'm really in the behind the scenes of that. I'm not the person that's in front of the camera. I'm the person that's usually supporting the person that's behind the camera. I mean, in front of the camera. I think what you learn over time, because when you first get into it, your mind is already like, I'm gonna figure out how to get up there and be the first. This is the vision of what first is in television, but it doesn't mean that's actually the first. Um, but your mindset is like, that's going to be me. And I think that's just a competitor in you. But you also start to get to see the things that are behind, the support that's behind the first, that makes the first the first. So
mm,
I think that's the thing that kind of was able to change my mind a little bit more about being second. Is like, mine is like, I'm helping, I'm part of the steps that are helping this person stand on this little platform. Um, but I don't know if you ever get used to it. I can't say that you still grapple in your mind back and forth like, hey, that's me. Not in like a jealous or envious way. It's just the fact of what you're always used to,
mm,
the level of performance that you're used to.
mm.
But yeah, I would say for the most part, you get to learn the team that's around. You get to learn everything that it takes for look at this stuff popping up on the screen.
If you don't stay focused, come on now.
I was like, look at technology. Yes, follow her, please. But yeah, you get to just, learn that it's a whole lot of things that work behind the scenes. And I think that's very important for me to see now if I ever do get back to the first spot of everything that it takes to coordinate behind you, all the team that you need, everybody that needs to be important to make that thing happen. And I wasn't aware of that before.
Oh, that's powerful. And you weren't aware of that before. I may definitely pull you back on later at another time, and we may just kind of center something just around that, because I think that's powerful. What you said is to encourage all of us to know, first of all, there's nothing wrong with you having the desire to want to be the lead, the number one spot, because all of us should be able to have some drive no matter what field you're in. And it doesn't matter. It can even be in a relationship. You could be married. You ought to want to be the number one wife or the number one husband. So we may
Agreed.
get back to that one day. But I love how you tied that in, is you did not know before the power in the support staff.
I
Um,
did not.
and
Yeah.
you had an awesome and still have an awesome support staff in regards to family and friends. And so we may come back to that another time. But I do want to ask too, Nicole, when you think about Nicole Brown, this college athlete at Georgia Southern, what would be the 3 words that you would describe her by?
Oh. Oh.
I know her.
um, Okay, 3 words, 3 words. I would say she was very determined. She was focused and um, you know what? She was confident. She was confident. Some people thought it was arrogant, but I was like, she was very confident. And what her abilities was. Like I was very focused on what I wanted to accomplish and what I wanted to get done and how I was going to show up. Like one of my biggest things when I went into running track and field my freshman year was like, you've already sat on the bench in high school and you know how that feels. We're not going to do that. Let's see what happens when you give 100% every day. Let's see what that feels like and what's going to happen. So I would say those three: determined, focused, and confident.
Oh, you're giving me so many nuggets, and I know that we are on limited time, but like somebody needs to hear that part. And it may not be in the part of sport, but you already sat on the bench, so you know how that feels. So now you have this new opportunity. We're not sitting on the bench no more. So we're gonna come back to that. I already asked you, and so I'm getting your verbal yes now that you're gonna come back, because I think there's some things we need to dive into that can really transcend sports. So I got your top three of you saying, the big things with that: you were determined, you were focused, and you were confident. But now here you are, as an adult, 15 years later. What are those 3 words to describe you now?
The fact you said 15 years later, my whole chest just dropped. Something was like, oh, 15 years? It's happened. I would say some of the things that are the same is the fact that I'm still determined. There's a lot of things I want to accomplish in life. I would still say that I'm confident in that I will get those things done. And when I walk in, I probably just carry that. Like, it's going to get done. But the thing that's different between that girl that was 20 something years old and the girl now that's in her late 30s is that I'm more patient. I think it's a matter of the element of time, because 5 years to a 20-year-old seemed like forever versus now 5 years thinking about being 80 years old one day. 5 years is nothing. So it's just taking the time to kind of build and not trying to rush. I think you battle between that every now and again because you still have that 20-year-old in your mind that's like, it's got to get done now. I only got this much time. But you do learn over time that I could take my time building. So yeah, that's the difference between those two. I would hope.
Yeah, I love it. And I was thinking too,